Sienna God, hello all. Ocean afternoon, good afternoon, and Wado, thank you for watching. This is day 10 of reading Lone Wolf Alpha Squad Copy Over by James Rink, and this is his story. The subject is then strapped down totally naked on a gurney, and an IV is placed in one arm. Wires are attached to their heads to monitor in electroencephalograph patterns. Then they may be injected with hallucinogens such as Demerol. Victims are then placed in a trance. They may hear weird, disorienting sounds. Light goggles are placed over their eyes, which pulsate red or white lights at certain frequencies. These are very similar to the goggles you can purchase for biofeedback machines. At this point, the individual is traumatized with waterboarding or electroshock, needles inserted into either the right ear, the genital region, or under the fingernails. Oh my God. Once the EEG reaches a certain brainwave state, the handlers speak instructions involving self-destructive behaviors into the left ear because it is associated with the right hemisphere non-dominant brain functioning. One phrase which is sometimes used is love me not. Love me not. Repeated over and over, which makes no sense to the subconscious mind. Remember, the right side of the brain is where your creativity is centered, and the left side controls logic. The whole point of doing this is to bypass the logic centers of the brain so a person will be programmed to act but not think. Kind of makes me wonder what those VR goggles are doing. Like, I know that they do like light sequences behind shows and movies where I guess if they make it known, they have to say this may cause seizure activity or whatever. But it makes me wonder, those virtual reality deals. If the individual does not memorize the, person will be programmed to act but not think. Oh yeah. If the individual does not memorize the spoken instructions word for word, they are then subjected to electroshock. At this point, the personality will be either split off from the core personality or the child will die. Oh my. The ones that survive are evaluated for personality traits and future use. The programming only takes about 25 minutes, after which victims are given high voltage electroshock, erasing their memory of the procedure. They are then implanted with a master implant at the back of the neck or a femtobiobot goo injection. So it's FEMTOBIOBOT goo injection. This will control other devices such as auditory implants, tracking implants, brain implants, or visual holographic implants. Sometimes brainstem scarring procedures are performed, which produces system-wide photographic memory. What? The subjects may then be placed in cages with animals in order to psychically bond to take on their characteristics. During this time, they would not feed or offer drink to the subject. Whoa. A child will undergo many of these treatments over the course of their lifetime. The procedures vary, but usually it involves hypnosis, double bind coercion, pleasure pain reversals, or food, water, sleep, sensory deprivation, along with various drugs and biobots, which alter certain cerebral functions. Most of the programming occurs during childhood. As they become adults, it becomes a bit more sporadic. Victims usually have missing memory gaps ranging from a few days to years, which correspond with the programming sessions, especially around the ages of 6 to 7, when programming kicks into high gear. Around the age of 7 to 12, they will give the child a puppy or kitten and tell them to kill it. Oh my. If the child refuses, they will put a person in front of the child, hand them a gun, and ask the child to shoot them in their forehead. Oh my God. If child does not, it says that, if child, so it's probably supposed to say, if the child does not fire the weapon, they do it for them in order to split a violent altar. Whoa. And it says, if the child chooses to kill, they will then be put into combat training with other children. Those that resisted killing might be placed in a room with dead bodies for up to 2 days in order to split a suicide altar. And or the subject may be asked to eat these dead bodies in order to create berserker altars. Oh my God. Anyway, my mind was like looking at this artwork as I was reading. So artwork courtesy of Jody Hargreaves. So there's them fighting up there. And then, I don't know if those are I don't know what that is, but I see that those are like what look like grays, but I'm not sure. And you know, this reminds me of, because they hide this stuff in movies and stuff, that one well, of course, it'd be like Stranger Things, but that Reacher dude that came out where, and the Paul Blart, the mall cop guy, right? I don't remember his real name or either one of them, but anyhow, where the kid was cloned after the DNA of the non-suspecting security guard, and then they rescue the kid. He rescues the kid, and then there's like hundreds more of those kids. Like, anyway. With each session, a new altar is created. These altars are programmed with compressed details and messages. This is done using high-tech headsets in conjunction with computer-driven generators. I watched that movie on Prime, by the way, so you can check it out there if you want to. I think it was included with the membership. Which emit inaudible sound waves or harmonics that affect the RNA covering of neuron pathways to the subconscious and unconscious mind. Because the RNA sheaths are programmed using harmonics, the risk of a monarch breaking out of their programming is next to nothing. These ultrasonic frequencies are used as an activation code or trigger, which can be sent over the phone or via satellite into an implant, for instance, to activate a monarch at any given point. Sadly, for the victims programmed in this manner, very little can be done to deprogram them without access to the same technologies used to program them. And it makes me wonder what the heck is going on, because these jabs are literally coming out affecting like RNA, mRNA, and all kinds of other stuff. Like, what the heck is really going on? Virtual reality optical devices are sometimes used simultaneously with the harmonic generators, projecting pulsating colored lights, subliminal messages, and split-screen visuals. These are inserted into movies and television, which trigger and reinforce their programming. For example, many of the Disney films and cartoons contain programming triggers, subliminal messages, and neuro-linguistic programming for monarch children. I think it affects other people too, because sometimes things will come out and they'll sit there and just reenact the same thing that they've seen on the TV. And it's like, what the what? If the altar and the child graduates the programming, they will then be given a caseworker and sent on missions which may involve trip seat alternation protocols and soul transference into clone hulked out bodies which have no memories of their former civilian life. Missions can last many years. It's probably supposed to be many. Last many years, hence the need of time travel tech and neutralizing used to wipe memories. MPD/DID structuring. These children would now have minds which are programmed like a computer. Memories are holographic in nature. When you rip a hologram in half, you get two holograms. But the more you rip them apart, the fuzzier the picture becomes. Memories are not stored in one specific location, but in all locations in the aura. The brain accesses these memories using rhythmic frequencies starting in the cerebrum and radiating outwards. Different frequencies are used to tag different memories. The brain then decodes and recodes memories for retrieval. Brain injuries can destroy this decoder, but leave other decoders intact. This is how MBD/DID is created. Amnesia layers and walls are created within each personality, and specific codes of ultrasonic frequencies are then used for memory retrieval. The brain is capable of storing 100 million billion bits of information, but very few people actually use all this. Those with MPD use more of this space by running more computers in the brain at the same time, without the main personality being aware of what's really going on. The core is the soul essence. It records everything that is done to it, including all memories of all altars. The core runs the entire programming and background outside the awareness of the main personality. The altars are then given a certain classification, such as alpha, beta, delta, theta, or omega. Alpha altars refer to general programming, beta is sexual programming, delta are killer programs, theta are psychic killers, and omega are self-destruction programs resulting in suicide. Omega is triggered when a monarch breaks away from its programming. It's been noted that the perpetrators who do this carry around color-coded graphs showing the arrangement of the altars, the structure or the system, the training of the altars, the history of the altars, and other details. All the trauma programming carried out on a monarch is coded using dates or numbers so that the memories can be pulled up by the programmers, which some of the programmers and handlers have memorized. The deepest parts, such as the core gems, executive committee, false trinity, etc., are charted in esoteric languages such as Enochian, Enochian, Hebrew, Enochian, comma, Hebrew, in parentheses, which is considered magical, and Druid symbols. How to deprogram a monarch. Removing monarch programming requires access to the core, or the soul, and reintegration of memories back into the main personality. But it can be difficult because you may find there are alters posing as a core, so be sure to explore this possibility. The first program that should be reintegrated is Omega. Remember, these are the suicide alters. Removing this first is paramount. Then you need to find out if there are any programs reporting back to their handlers and remove these next. In the case of some individuals that have gone through cybernation, they may have sophisticated monitoring systems such as fiber optic video recorders in the eyes, making it nearly impossible to free a slave from their handler. Gaining access to the programming is the most difficult component. 1960 styled MK Ultra may be as simple as finding the right password or ultrasonic tone. If this is the case, you may want to look for obsessions in that person's life. Very often, the thing they are most obsessed about may contain clues as to how they were programmed. It could be animal or a number such as Executive Control Board 331231132211, or a series of random numbers and letters like Z-090-132-5A. But sadly, this method will be of very little help to individuals who have been subjected to cybernation and trip-seat programming. These individuals will need to be exposed to a mixture of DNA and femtite injections in conjunction with physical torture in order to gain access to their programming. But more about this later. There is some good news. Individuals who are very psychic and clairvoyant can work around their trauma by creating backdoor entrances. This is where decalcifying the pineal gland plays such an important role. If a monarch victim is loaded with femtites and implants, then their Stargate connection to a God source via the pineal gland is blocked. Therefore, it is critical that they first begin a process of detoxifying their body. The fluoride in water increases the uptake of aluminum and nanites contained in chemtrails. This, along with food preservatives, this is why y'all gotta cook from scratch, man. And they make you think that it's hard and it's boring and all this other kinds, and it's not. It's because they want you to eat all this preserved crap. Vaccinations and pharmaceutical usage all plays a negative role in healthy pineal gland functioning. Even if you are not a monarch victim, you have most likely already been exposed to these toxins and will find some benefit to adding MSM, carbon-60, and zeolites in our diet to help chelate, CHELATE, heavy metals. We use, what is that? It's like warrior water or something. It's a black water. We do that to get rid of stuff. According to MJ12's Dr. Michael Wolff, chemtrails were created around 1955 to 1960 to reduce the reproductive rates of humans. A lot of things in the human body can be affected in a subtle quantum way. The reduced reproductive rates will not show up until several generations have gone down the line. Some people may notice distortion of thoughts, but it's not a mind control thing. Barium in the chemtrails is not good for a human body, but each element in the chemtrail, as well as the conglomerates of chemicals and minerals, protons and electrons in the quantum slurry, changes your energies while they are projecting down from the clouds. The elements affect the gravity rate of drop, how it's held together, and how it affects people. All right. Once you are connected to God's source, mind programming will be negated as the mind and body naturally integrates and heals itself. And in time, you will be able to channel and clairvoyantly access areas of your mind that have been previously locked up. And we'll leave it there. Don't go hang, you in a good chance. Till we meet again. Love you, mean it.